who talks about Armada 2.0, I swear to God I will come for you.
Saying that they are surprise mechanics, and people love surprises.
To get a Baneblade, the plastic Baneblade, to sell in the store at ROE Games, 19 Park Lane, Havelock. Come by, see us.
Aoski here, and this is By the Numbers.
This week we're going to be going over character creation for Wrath and Glory.
My name is Keith, or you can call me ArmorBoy21. That's my gaming deck. Today we're going to learn D&D.
Oh, hello there.
Your armor, sir?
Boom!
You take 7 points of damage.
Alright guys, we're rocking out really hard tonight. So what we got going on is Crease.
There will be swearing and or shenanigans of the adult nature.
Damn it!
Hello, everybody! Tonight we have another edition of Gamer Interrupted, and tonight this scene might look just a little bit different. That's because I decided to go see Mama East Coast up north. I'm really excited for that. It's been a long time. I'm here tonight with my co-host. His name is DocShippy. Some of you know him as Dan, Gamer Actual, and
Hey,
he's
guys.
back on the couch tonight. How you doing, Dan? I'm up in our neck of the woods, man.
Oh, I know, right? It's been a long time since I've been up here. I'm down in North Kakalaka, so drink some Bastin Lager for me, and have a lobster roll and say hi to your mother.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna go check out the Haba and everything, dude.
So for those playing at home, me and AJ had a good discussion on whether or not we were going to make tonight the all Boston show, and we're already losing viewers. I can already see it.
Just the Boston show tonight.
Just
No.
Boston.
But in all seriousness, yes, I am calling on the road tonight because it's important to me to keep the show going. And as all of you know, we are now on Apple Podcasts. This episode, along with the past 3 episodes we've done, are available. So look out for those, and look out for future new content. And tonight, I won't be able to yell when I get as excited, Dan, when I usually do, and that's because we're in the hotel, so I got to respect.
You can't, but I can still get heated over Star Wars, so get wrecked.
Which we'll get to, right. But I think it's time we open up the news tonight. I wanted to talk tonight about The Last of Us 2. That was the first thing that I saw. Obviously, we had the huge game release last week.
Dude, it was epic.
It was, honestly, I look at this game and I see art. I see pure art. I see great mechanics and gameplay. I see a wonderful visual world. I haven't played it yet, just so everyone knows, but I see a wonderful world that's very... it looks just even like an upgraded version of The Last of Us, the one previous, but even nicer, which is crazy to me because we're not even at the PS5 level yet, but we're using these incredible graphics. We're not even at Dan, did you get a chance to look at any of the graphics or any of the video gameplay?
We're not even at not yet. So one of my buddies has it, and he was telling me all about it. From what I've been hearing, it's an amazing game. It's beautiful. What's up, Rich R? How you doing, homie?
That's our buddy Eric R, the famous NBA streamer.
Yes. So I've heard a lot of good things about the game. I'm probably going to sit on this one. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really a big fan of the first one. It's not really my scene. I don't do zombie games. So, AJ, this is all you. But the things I have been hearing about it have all been positive. Big open worlds. It's not so much an open world like Horizon Zero Dawn, but more of a, hey, here's a big open play area for you to go to in this area. Oh, hey, look, we're finishing up this area. Now you're in a new big area to go to. So a lot of good content. Like I said, I haven't really heard anything bad about it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to say about it. This is more your cup of tea.
Well, yeah, of course, and I will be doing the news. I mean, not doing the news. I will be playing the game eventually. Not right away. I wanted to give it a little bit of time to sit with people and see things. But it's interesting that you said that you haven't seen too much negative attention to
No.
Last of Us 2, because I personally have seen the opposite.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of people saying that the story is too short. They feel cheated out of the content.
Well, with a game like this, it's driven by the side quests. Especially if you play Fallout, you play anything Naughty Dog, Assassin's Creed, you know that there's more to this universe than. By the way, we got a new follow, Violet Abstract.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks
Violet
for the
Abstract.
follow. So, we have it's this large open world, and there's a lot of content there. You have to go looking for it, and if you go through to just play it, like even Fallout had a 2-hour game, Fallout 4. If you just tanked through the story, you could have been in and out of it in no time.
Well, I think
But
a lot
if you
of
sit there
players.
and milked it like the way I like to play it, I mean,
Right.
I'm one of those, hey, there's a thing. I'm going to go meander to that thing for the next 5 hours and get distracted every 5 seconds along the way. What was I doing again? Oh, yeah, there's a story here.
Well, the one thing about the story that's kind of confusing to me, the why people are taking it so negatively, is they're upset that you can't play as the dad the entire time. And even Naughty Dog and everyone that went out there, they said that was not our
It's not
intention.
his story anymore.
Right,
no
it's
longer-
not the intention.
So the end of, from my understanding, and no spoilers because I haven't really played Last of Us, the first one. I played a little bit of it, enough to be like, yeah, this isn't really for me. But so the his story ends at the very end of the first game.
Yeah.
So this is really Ellie's story.
And
it's
I
more
thought
about
more
her than Joel.
I thought more people were going to be more excited about that to begin, because you see her as a young lady, and now she's grown up adult, and she's doing things that her father had previously taught her in order to survive in this world. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, Eric says good game, little overwhelming at times. How do you mean by that, Eric? I haven't had the chance to play. But something really, a cool article that I did see about Last of Us 2, away from all of like the media bombs and score bombs and all that stuff, the critics are saying 10 out of 10 that this might possibly, it does have its issues, but might possibly be one of the best games that we've ever seen in a long time.
So my take on this is that it's still too new to really pass judgment on it, because a lot of these games, they put them out as kind of like a feeler, and then they start dropping all the DLC updates to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some sort of DLC coming down the pipe, a lot of other content added to it. It's still too fresh, still too kind of new to actually be able to tell what's going on. So,
well, that was almost what Naughty Dog was hinting at, and they were kind of like, hey, fuckers, if you guys calm down a little bit, play our game, we'll let you know that there's more stuff coming, whether it's in the game itself or maybe even a Last of Us 3.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have more DLCs to come out for this game, especially a release this big, a release with all the hype behind it. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more just stuff coming from it. Look at Borderlands. Borderlands was a relatively short game compared to the previous Borderlands games.
Right.
If you just did the main game, it probably was about 20 hours worth of gameplay. But if you sat there and did the meandering and played all the side quests, yeah, you are seeing so much extra content being added post-game than was it part of the original release, which is what I feel like they're going to do with The Last of Us, because they have so much of a story there, so much build up to it. It would almost be a shame if they just left it as it is.
Well, this thing is almost like a movie, really. It's set itself apart now from, and I think
that's where I'm kind of worried. They're going to finesse and drop a next gen version with DLC. Yeah, that's
for the
probably
PS5,
what I think. Yeah, that's what I feel like they're going to do. However, what I am worried about is I'm worried they're going to do the Nathan Drake Uncharted thing, where they come out with a bunch of quick games. Like, you have Uncharted 1, which was an amazing cinematic game, and then, it was a long game, a lot of content. Then you had Uncharted 2, which was about half the length of the first one. but it was still a great cinematic game. And then you have the third one, which was even like 2/3 the length of that first.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh. So that's my big worry towards the game. But I'm very excited for the game that it's finally come out. There's been a lot of build up for it, so that's my 2 cents on it.
I can definitely see that happening, Eric, coming out with on the PS5 some additional content. I would have to disagree with you and say that I don't see The Last of Us turning into that kind of thing with the way the PlayStation studios are now. I do believe they're going to push out more content with Last of Us or something in the Last of Us universe, but I don't think it's going to end up becoming like Nathan Drake. But that's just me. But the last topic I wanted to bring up with that, Dan, was the amount of accessibility options for physically and mentally disabled people to play The Last of Us 2.
Really? This is something I'm not even tracking on, so... I cede the floor.
Unbelievable, because this was... Surprisingly, this wasn't really heavily marketed before, but now that people are playing it and people are trying to understand, all of the accessibility options that these people have to play, they're starting to understand that this thing might be a masterpiece. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because we understand that, there's people out there with disabilities that aren't able to use their hands. They're blind. There's all kinds of things under the sun. And unfortunately, in video games for a long time, it's been difficult for disabled folks to play video games. And now...
So this is something that's been becoming more mainstream. I mean, you have Xbox with the new modular controllers and new systems to be able to help these disabled gamers get into the game and actually be competitive with it. So it's a great thing. I think that's awesome, and I'm glad the developers are finally taking the time to put in the effort to go that extra mile.
Yes, 100%. And I just think that even with the ability for blind players or semi-blind players, visually impaired people, to be able to experience a work of art like this that's really heartwarming. It's very down to earth from the developers, and I really hope to see that a lot of this stuff goes on in the future with other big releases like this.
Yeah. So one thing though, there's a big trailer that dropped recently that I have yet to comment on.
Okay, what's that?
I mean, do I have to say it? The new Star Wars. Come on. Squadron.
Yes.
You expect me to go an entire episode without dropping some Star Wars love/hate.
We did talk about it a little bit last week, but we didn't go into full detail just because of the times that we had with the interview. But yes, tell us your thoughts on Star Wars
Having
Squadron.
watched the trailers, there's a lot of rebel propaganda there.
Rebel propaganda.
Hashtag still your emperor. But it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. It looks like the arcade style X-Wing versus TIE Fighter game that we've been missing on the next gen consoles.
We have for a long time.
We haven't seen a Star Wars fighter since the GameCube when Rogue Leader came out, which was a masterpiece. So
yes,
the fact that they're coming out now with a Star Wars fighter game where you get to fly around in everyone's favorite TIE fighters and TIE interceptors and then the X-Wings and A-Wings and the Alphabet Squadron BS, but where you can play as terrorists and whatnot. So with that being said, I am nervous. I am very nervous about this game.
Abigail 13 says Star Wars.
Star Wars. So reasons why I'm nervous. It's EA.
That's the exact reason that I brought up last week, because as you know, Star Wars Battlefront 2 completely broke my heart. So I will reiterate it again. Do not fuck up another Star Wars.
So here are the things I'm worried about. And EA, if you're watching, please take notes. Number one, I want to be able to play a single player game. I want to be
Yes.
able to just jump on, play with a bunch of bots, and not have to worry about, oh, I have to sit in this lobby and wait for a bunch of douchebags to join so I can play. No. I want a story that I play just by myself, like the old Rogue Squadrons of old. I don't care if it's a whole lot of content. I want a galactic battlefront where I can play against, I can do these, the squadron combat against capital ships by myself, or maybe with a couple friends. I don't want to have to be playing against a horde of other people. I just want, a nice, closed, enjoyable game. EA,
Well, Dan, I think
just no. Don't do that. Don't do this to me. Like Battlefront 2 did and Battlefront 1 did. I want a harkening back to the LucasArts. New DLC single player, right?
Well, that's
It's
almost
beginning
what
to
it's
feel
been
that
like
way.
that. It's like that now, Violet, because we haven't seen that in so long. And then when they did hang in front of our face, they gave us that shitty, awful campaign that my
You
my
mean
dog
the
could
10
run.
hours of gameplay and, lifetime of regret for purchasing that trash?
Yeah. Well, for me, it wasn't a full lifetime because I did end up picking it up 2 years later. But
Why?
the point
Why?
I'm trying
You know
to-
better.
The point I'm trying to make is, Star Wars, you can't do that right now because you'll lose everyone, especially those of us that are around our age that played Star Wars on the GameCube
we
back
have
in the
touched perfection. We have seen the amazingness that is Rogue Squadron.
Yep.
We have seen the amazingness that is Rogue Leader. We have played the awesomeness that is Shadows of the Empire. We don't want Battlefront 2, the EA edition. We don't
we do
want-
not. No, we do not.
We don't want Call of Duty in our Star Wars. Just get rid of that. We don't want that. We want a good single player, maybe co-op. I'll even allow a co-op experience game.
Well,
And oh god.
just from reading the website and just from my first impressions of the game, Dan, unfortunately, I think what you want and what you expect out of this game is going to come later because they've talked about climb the leaderboards, climb the ranks,
Yep.
I think,
you know what
yes,
though?
there
That's
will
what's
be a lot
killing
of-
gaming, dude. It is, and this was going to be a topic I was going to save for our new podcasts. That's right. You like that pitch? There?
Nice little self-plug right there.
Yeah. So I was going to save this for a Doctor's Corner podcast, but this EA multiplayer mindset, climb the leaderboard, esports thing is ruining gaming. Because everything has to be a competition now. Which is one of the reasons why I'm happy that PlayStation 5 is focusing on single-player games. That makes me extremely happy. Because
I think
with that focus, we're going to see better content. No more of this Fortnite trash.
Right.
We're no more of this, live service games where companies can put in half-ass attention to these games and come out with a game that's better suited for your cell phone than a console.
Well, I think a lot of these AAA companies forget that there are people, guys, out there that are still playing the single player. They still want the story. They still want to be immersed because guess what? For forever, we've been watching from day one, literally. I've been watching Star Wars. And we've been playing the video games, and we've always wanted to be immersed in that universe. And we've always wanted to be immersed in the ability to fly around, just like Anakin was the best starfighter, just like Luke flying around. We've always wanted that ability.
And for those of us who are expanded universe fans, Suntir fell on the Imperial side.
Yes. Yes.
You can't drop those terrorist names and not expect me to, Iden Versio. Even though she became a traitor.
I'm looking forward to it, Star Wars Squadrons, but at the same time, I'm very, very, very hesitant. It's like an ex-girlfriend calls you, after like 4 years and like, hey, you want to grab coffee? Maybe.
Red
but,
flags, warning lights.
I'll think about getting the coffee, or I might go get coffee with someone else. That's that's all I have to say on that. But I think we've touched a lot on Star Wars, and that's a lot more detail that we went into this week than we were able to go into last week, which I'm really stoked
No
about.
regrets.
A quick topic, we'll kind of switch things a little bit and kind of just a little bit of a sadder topic. Dan, Ian Holm passes away at 88 years old.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, for me, I was first introduced to Ian Holm at a very young age when I watched The Fellowship of the Ring. And he played the old man Bilbo Baggins. Not the current one that's played by Martin Freeman, the previous Bilbo Baggins. This is sad, man. This is really sad because I think a lot of us looked up to him as an actor. We saw, some great character work with Bilbo, from being able to switch immediately from this happy fireworks shooting guy to the angry, I'm going to eat your face off Bilbo. And then you see him at the end after everything's complete, and you watch him literally ride off into the sunset with Gandalf. And I think that with him passing, as a fan, that image of him going off into the sunset in Rivendell is real for me. How do you feel about that?
I mean, you know me, I don't really get too choked up when actors and stuff pass. I mean, it's sad. He was 88 though, so he lived a good life.
Right.
He had a great career, and he will be remembered by the parts he played, and that in itself is a testament to him.
Right.
He has this. He was in Alien. He was in.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of bit roles. I mean, he was in The Fifth Element, if I'm correct. I think that was him.
Yeah.
So you have this. I mean, he's got such a collection of work that he won't be forgotten. So
no,
it's sad that he passed, but let's remember him by watching something he did, and that's what will keep him alive.
He will always be remembered in that aspect.
But hey, look, a change in topic.
Positive topic switch. Here we go.
Minecraft enters the Gaming Hall of Fame. Oh, that just right here. I can't think of a better game for it, too.
Well, think of this, man, because this is really a full circle thing for you, because for those you don't know, Dan has been very, very into Minecraft for a long time. He used to do streams.
In fact,
last year,
that's what ETG Actual started as, was me doing Minecraft streams.
Well, it's no surprise to me that they put Minecraft into the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I was thinking that it was going to take a little bit longer. I'm surprised that it took this long because of the amount of popularity and the amount of people that are play this. Not to mention, it's all across all platforms, including this thing.
and I mean, the fact that it's been out like 20 years, not 20 years, like 15 years now. And they haven't abandoned the game. They're still coming out with new content for it.
Right.
They're still adding on to the game. They're expanding it. They're making it cross-platform. The game it really is the open sandbox playground that we've always wanted. It is a world where literally everything and anything is possible. And the fact that they've supported modders, they've supported their fan base. They've been like, hey, here is a whole bunch of new content for you, free of charge. They didn't charge us for DLC content when they updated the Nether. They didn't charge us for DLC content when they added pandas. They didn't charge us for... I mean, they've added so much to this game. It deserves that title in the Hall of Fame.
And not to mention, we're never gonna not see Minecraft, at least because it's gonna come with us with PS5. But people are never going to, and Xbox Series X, so people are never going to stop playing this on PC. People are never going to stop modding this game.
Nope.
It's brought a community of gamers together, unlike any other.
I have it on 3 different platforms. I'm resisting the urge to get it for Switch. It's just like, I have it on my PC. I have it on the Xbox One. I have it on PS4. It's just like, oh, I can't justify getting it on the Switch.
I think a lot of people are in your shoes, Dan. I think a lot of people have bought it on multiple platforms, because think about it, you can't mod things very well on the Switch, the PlayStation, Xbox, and there's a lot of interesting things that you can do
I mean,
from
and plus
Minecraft.
the downloads they come out for it. Like, I have the Fallout mod that came out for it.
The
I have the
Pokemon-
Skyrim mod that came out for it. And those are the ones that Minecraft itself put out. That's a buyable mod, and I absolutely love it.
Well, and the crazy thing, Dan, that with Minecraft coming into the Hall of Fame, it's leading the other games along that are with it.
But you know what it's doing though, right? It's showing these other game companies like, hey, Mojang started as nothing,
Right.
and they produced this game that's freaking amazing and has a bunch of content and doesn't nickel and dime its fucking fan base. Glaring at EA.
Among the other entries to the 2020 Hall of Fame, we have Bejeweled, classic where Candy Crush came from.
Yeah. As much as it pains me that the cell phone mindless swipey game it goes in, I've wasted more time on it than I care to admit.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. My mom plays it a lot. So
Hey, you know what? There is a niche of gamers and they happen to be older that love things like that.
But you know,
we
what?
also
it's got its place. Those are
Right.
the type of cell phone games though that the content's worthwhile because it doesn't charge you to play. You don't have to be competitive. It's mindless fun. It's like the old Tetris games, you know? It's one of those things that you can just go and have fun playing, and there's really no learning curve to it. It's just, it is what it is. It's
Right.
not a, it doesn't have any qualms to it, and it's enjoyable.
We're also looking at Centipede to come in there. One of the historical documents, obviously, is what I refer to anything made pre-1990.
An archaeological find, good sir.
And King's Quest, the final inductee this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, interesting.
That's a name I haven't heard in quite some time.
Well, did you notice how they kind of picked things from not just like first-person shooter, but they picked things from very obscure categories of gaming.
And you know what, though? I wouldn't be surprised if we see GoldenEye get in there, Perfect Dark. You know, these games that have just built gaming as a whole. And that's literally what these games did. Bejeweled really cornered that market in the puzzle match 3-of-a-kind game. Minecraft, freaking King's Quest was the original action. It was the original Skyrim.
Well, look at these. These are all games that led to, besides Minecraft being good on its own, but there were things that came from that, unfortunately. But it all led to all these games set the foundation and the bar for everything to come after that. You know what I mean? Which I really like about that. Dan, and we're going to change topics now, and this is something that I've been focusing myself on for a while. I've been trying to get into this style because you and a lot of the other ETG folks know much about tabletops and board games. I'm very new into it.
Come, my child, welcome to the dark side of tabletop gaming.
Frostpunk, which is an incredible RTS, is now going to get a board game, Dan.
Ooh.
I think that's dope. I really do, because I love when you see, board games get turned into RTS games like Risk and things like that. But I love it now when you see the RTS game get moved into the board game, because now it opens up a different world of possibilities.
Here's one for you that actually did the reverse. It went from a tabletop board game into an RTS game.
Okay.
It's called Scythe. It is a post-World War I steampunk, diesel punk fantasy game that plays a lot like Catan and Risk. It's a lot of fun. It has a lot of content to it. But they're crossing it into an RTS called Iron Harvest, or Blood and Iron. It looks freaking amazing. Giant mechs and freaking World War I type of troops roving the countryside. It looks awesome. So if you're going to make the jump, AJ, there's a good game for you to cross over with.
I honestly, I wouldn't call it making the jump. I would call it exploring my game knowledge, I guess.
I mean,
but no,
I just picked up a brand new board game, which I cannot wait to play, called Twilight Imperium. I loves it so much.
That looked really interesting.
It is a very intense game. There's a lot going on with it. It is basically civilizations in space.
Well, we don't know too much about the Frostpunk board game right now.
Yeah.
However, we do know that Mr. Jacob Wisnowski, co-writer of the War of Mine, the board game, has made the announcement that he will be working with Guerrilla Collective on the
Wait, hold on. A tabletop game that's coming out that's not being made by Fantasy Flight? Oh my goodness!
Well,
for those of you who are new to the channel, I like giving Fantasy Flight a lot of shit. They design a lot of really good board games and a lot of really shitty board games. So we like to call them out every chance we get. And Twilight Imperium, the game I just bought, is a Fantasy Flight board game.
with Frostpunk, the board game, we're now looking at also Frostpunk is getting a final expansion for the video game itself, and that's going to be available this summer, and it's called On the Edge.
You see, I haven't played Frostpunk. It's available on Steam.
Okay, yeah, it is. Yes,
Ooh,
Steam.
Violet Abstract says Frostpunk's on sale.
Ooh, thank you.
I think I know what I'm going to be doing later.
Well, I knew you were going to get kind of excited about this because On the Edge is the pre like Ice Age stuff. It's before the world was frozen over. It's a little bit smaller, but
you know me, I love steampunk and dieselpunk. That's one of my favorite niches. The cyberpunk thing's a little I'm good. You can have it. I'm fine.
Well, what I'm really excited about is that you're going to have to be able to explore the world as it's evolving now with On the Edge. And I think that's kind of cool because that as like someone that plays a lot of tactical RTSs, that puts this cool idea into my head of things that I can do to ravage around the snow or ravage around some areas that might not be snowed in or some areas that are more difficult than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, here's one topic that you brought up earlier off stream that really needs to be brought up here.
One second, Dan. My computer's laptop. I need to just replug it in. I think the one I was using is not working in here in the hotel. So why don't you tell the fans about that, and I will cut away for just 1 second. 1 moment.
All right. So, for those of you playing at home, Mixer, Twitch's glorious rival, has gone the way of the dinosaur and is died. Apparently, they are merging Mixer with Facebook Gaming. So, guys like Ninja and his 5 viewers that cross with him onto Mixer are going to be able to view him on Facebook Gaming. So if you enjoy watching that, you're going to have to catch them there. Mixer is no more. It is dead. Finito, fini. It is no longer in existence. No, I don't know what you're talking about, AJ. You totally didn't catch me say something like that.
Oh man. Well, you know what? I don't want to say that I told you so, but I also kind of want to say that I told you so. Because
it was Mixer, I'll give it this. It was a very good idea at the time, trying to give Twitch a rival, but Twitch already has a rival. It has we lost AJ. You know, it already has a rival. It has
Facebook
YouTube
Gaming
and Facebook Gaming.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Discord and all
I
these
don't
other live
understand
streaming
is-
platforms. Mixer, why?
I understand you want to get, you want to have your own platform. You want to do stuff that everyone else is doing too. But at the same time, don't fix what's already not broken.
It's not. It's just, but why? But why?
Well, look what happens. Look what happens when people don't listen.
You get EA Battlefront 2 Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, this is something I spoke off stream with a couple of our viewers, Sono Kid and King Scuba Steve. They have opinions that say that possibly that someone other than Facebook might become the more popular version of this now that Mixer's out of the picture.
No, oh gosh, why? Please stop.
Oh no.
All right, Mixer also barely spent money on advertising. All their money went to paying for their big names like Ninja. Yeah, and
Yeah, that's true.
they were kind of putting all their chips on Ninja bringing his fan base over, but the fans were like, "Yeah, no."
When people say, "Hey, I'm going to go live on Mixer tonight," I'm like, there's other things to go live on.
What's wrong with Twitch? There's
Right.
Twitch, right?
Which
there's
we have
Facebook
always
and
been-
YouTube as well.
Right.
They're not as good, but there's Twitch. Twitch love us.
Oh man. Well,
Gosh.
it's another topic that I brought up last week, and because of our time, we weren't able to go into too much detail. But everyone, you all know how I feel about Battlefield 5. You know how I feel about EA. Biggest waste of fucking money on my.
I just can't, AJ. I can't. It's just so terrible. Why?
Well, as EA and as they usually do, now 2.5, whatever, how long it's been years later, we finally have a full game. How do you make a World War II game and you don't put American soldiers in it? How is that a World War II game? How do you put a World War II game and you only have two factions at the very beginning?
That DLC's coming later. Did you not get that memo?
I heard.
DLC's coming.
The later's now, and it's a fucking year and a half later. But before I go too crazy on them, I do want to give them a little bit of features. We have new vehicles like the A-20 bomber, the M8 Greyhound, a lot of new stuff.
Hold on. Things that should have been in the game at
Correct.
launch.
Things that should have been there from the beginning. You're going to see a lot of stuff that has to do with the U.S. now because it wasn't there from the beginning. They've got a lot of new maps, some new game modes that have to do with the added factions. We've got new gadgets,
it's
grenades.
So disappointing. So I remember Battlefield 1942.
Yep.
And that was an amazing game. It was a lot of fun. And it was a complete game. You had a full campaign. You had great bots, good gameplay, and it was a complete game. You could play it. I remember spending hours playing it with a bunch of my buddies. Then Battlefield 2 came out. That also had a full story. It had a lot of good content. And then it went off the rails somewhere after the World War I battle. No, wait, that was Call of Duty. Was it Battlefield that did World War I? I can't remember.
There was Battlefield, yeah. Battlefield 1.
Battlefield, yeah.
Which was a great game, and I loved that. And that kind of brings me to my point that if you did that and you already had a completed game, why would you release bullshit? Because you lost me as a fan. I can't imagine
Survey says EA.
money.
And it's a shame because DICE is a good company.
Right.
DICE is a very good company, and they take a lot of pride in their work, which is why I'm sitting there and it's blowing my mind that in a World War II game, they are just now.
Yep.
Battlefield 5's been out for how long?
I think we're almost at the 2-year mark.
It's been out 2 years, and they're now just adding American content. It's like...
It's
come on, dude.
Here's the thing, because now look what you guys did. You ruined your fan base, but at the same time, the 2 years that you spent putting the game into fruition to the point that it is now, you could have done that. And all you had to do was release trailers like they used to. I remember as a kid waiting forever for video games. And that was fine because I knew that it was going to come out. And I knew that it was going to be good because you did take forever.
But you see, that's the difference. Those video games we were waiting for as kids were Nintendo video games. And Nintendo doesn't put its seal of approval on anything it doesn't think is ready to go out.
Right. Well, now that you bring up Nintendo, that kind of brings me into...
Hey, look, a seamless transition.
Into a couple topics that we have going with Nintendo. Both having to involve Pokemon. The first one, I'm going to lose my for a second. I apologize. Pokemon Snap. Oh my god.
It's coming back. Oh my goodness, it's coming back. One of the most relaxing and enjoyable Pokemon games is back.
So much fun. I spent hours, mindless hours on that game, and I'm not even 100% sure why.
Because it was so addicting. You wanted it gave you a whole new take on the Pokemon world that you weren't being, it wasn't an aggressive game. You were literally just there, like
you were literally a photojournalist,
safari.
taking
Yeah,
a picture of Pokemon, and that was awesome. And not only that, for those of you who haven't played it, go find an N64 and play it now.
I think they're going to be dropping it on the digital store in Nintendo soon.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But with that one, you had to figure out things to do to the Pokemon in order to get them to do different things, whether they were smiling, dancing. You threw, like you played the flute, you threw Pokeballs at certain ones, like the sleepy ball. You threw
food and like containers or gas canisters at them. And, depending on the pictures you took, looks like we lost AJ. And depending on the pictures you took would depend on, how things would show up. So I think Pokemon Snap coming back to the console. Oh, here's AJ. Yeet. And do we have AJ? Yes, he's back. All right.
For what the interruption there, guys. But what we're looking at now is Pokemon Snap in a whole new way, because think about the amount of Pokemon that have come out since what did that game 1990 something 97 98,
and they're saying that all of that content is going to be in the new game,
right? On top of that, you have that, and then you have, I can't even think of some of the stuff that they've done, and they probably haven't said anything. Back to our chat. What's that? We got some in the chat.
Yeah, Bill H just said rented it from Blockbuster for the win. Yeah, I did the same.
Yeah.
There was nothing better than going to Blockbuster, finding that they had the case there, and being like, yes, I'm going to be taking pictures of Pokemon all weekend.
And that's literally all that you do in this game. And to an outsider or someone that doesn't play Pokemon or thinks it's kiddish or whatever, you may think that's stupid. You may think that's crazy. But it's not. I remember
it used to frustrate my mom so much. So, Abigail, they're in talks to release it for the Switch. There's rumors that they're going to be dropping it in the NES store, but there's no timeline on when that's going to come out. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop it right around the time they announce its release date. So, stay tuned for that. Just keep an eye on their chat. We'll be announcing it as soon as we find out, so definitely stay tuned. Check us out on Facebook. Anytime I see any release date, I'm very quick to post it. So.
Oh, that's a day one release for me.
Oh yeah.
Day one release. So definitely we will keep you informed on all the news that we have Pokemon Snap this summer. Oh yeah. One more Pokemon game. We're getting a treat now.
I wouldn't call this one a treat.
I think we're getting a treat because we're getting a lot of Pokemon content at one time. But this might upset you, Dan, because
I've already tracking on this, and I have some rounds in the chamber on this one, AJ. But
guys,
I'll let you set it up.
We have Pokemon is going to be a MOBA now, and the thing that they're marketing with it is that it's Pokemon with your friends.
No.
But I think it's cool. I don't know why, but I think it's cool. I think it's. I'm not going to give it a chance. I'm going to watch people play, look at it.
Baka, EA.
The disapproval.
No.
But here's the thing. Yes, it's coming out on iOS, coming out on Android, but also the Switch. So you know it's going to be good on the Switch.
But here's the thing. It's coming out on iOS. It's coming out on Android. And it's coming out on Switch. Now, my thing is, if it's coming out on Switch, it's going to be a purchasable game, which I'm okay with.
100%.
I'm fine with that. iOS and Android is where I start getting worried. If you can purchase it and it's the full game and it's not a live service piece of crap like everything else that you download, I'll be fine with it. I just hope they don't go PUBG with it and then ruin the game.
What I don't want to see happen is you open the game and you have 20 minutes of probably Pikachu or Charmander explaining you how to play this mobile game, and then at the end show you for $9.99 you can bypass everything that we just... I don't want that to happen. I really don't think it's going to. But
I
there
hate to
is
say
a
it, but I
possibility.
already can tell it's going to have the standard mobile tropes in it. Hey, you need 8 crystal gems to be able to do that. Oh, to earn these crystal gems, you have to do XYZ. Oh, you can just buy the 100 of these crystal gems for $10.
And we see that happen a lot, and we've seen that with The Sims. We've seen that with plenty of video games, and I mean plenty of mobile games, and I don't want to see that happen to something that I hold very, 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 very dear to my heart.
I mean, look at Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go's, they're seeing a lot of returns coming from the Pokemon Go game where they do have that. Oh, hey, you did just, you want this egg to hatch quicker? You may as well buy something. Oh, you ran out of Pokeballs and you're not near any Pokestops?
Yeah.
We'll sell them to you. I'm worried about it. I don't trust it. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, the fact that it's on the Switch will make it a viable option. But the Switch has been doing a lot of the mobile games too, so I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
But hey, Pokemon Snap.
We'll see. That's all I can say. But if I can mention the gameplay and the mechanic of the MOBA that coming to Pokemon, I think that might be a little interesting because it will be kind of cool to be sitting in the lobby with your friends, just like the other MOBAs, and you're picking out which Pokemon you want to play, you need the lanes and stuff like that. I think that will be cool. I just don't think that it's necessary.
I mean, I'm sitting there, like, Smite is another MOBA, and I'm sitting there, Smite almost had me, because they put Cthulhu in Smite. So I'm sitting there like, ooh, but then I played it, and I'm like, this game is trash. Why? Why am I playing this?
Well,
this is terrible.
Seamless transition now to Smite. We probably have time for the last topic, and this is the topic I've wanted to showcase for a while. We have 2 stories coming with this one, with The Last Airbender. The first one is Smite. It does get us. We will see Avatar: The Last Airbender as a second Smite.
Why?
Right,
Smite
I understand.
Is so terrible.
Well, because Netflix, it's because of the new age fans of Last Airbender that we have, which I love, by the way. Thank you to all the new fans, because Airbender, I think, was a show that was a little too early. I think
it was ahead of its time. It was ahead of its time.
There was a huge amount of anime fans that really enjoyed it, and but now we're looking at people, regular people that love this game, or love this movie, or love this TV series. I'm sorry. And what we're getting to now, don't love the movie. That movie was fucking terrible. Don't forget that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But we're getting to now is that there's this fella, I don't know who he is, but he's making an Avatar game that has gotten by himself, from scratch. This is the second story that has gotten so much attention from the rest of the world that people are like, hey, let's play this dude's game because this thing is incredible. It's honestly, I was shown to it by a friend of the channel that comes by a lot, his Elder Nerds. He showed me it. The gameplay is incredible. I've watched the game stories, the game dev diaries from the very beginning. It's gorgeous. And if someone doesn't give this man all of the money that he needs to produce this thing will be a freaking gold mine. And kudos to you, sir, for not being afraid and going after your dream, literally a dream game, and making it for us and all the fans of Avatar. Because we've seen that a lot. People make fan games, which really is just a game in that universe that's not official. And we see it disappear, or we see them send them a hush, stop it, or we see them send them a shitload of money, take their game, and do things later to it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen now because this thing has millions of a back.
But on the
unfortunate, he's an indie developer that can't get the money because it's an Avatar game.
I'm surprised Nickelodeon hasn't backed him, because that's something that would totally be up their alley, unless Nickelodeon's working on something behind the scenes that we don't know about, especially with the new draw to Avatar and all these new fans. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something official from Nickelodeon come down the pipe, or if Nickelodeon reaches out to this guy and is like, hey, why don't you do a game for us? But I believe you got this week's top 5.
I do. We have top 5.
Because
we
we're coming down to the last 10 minutes here. Oh, and for those of you who are big fans of Ken Jeong, he is going live tomorrow and answering your questions. So
the Dark Times
Darkest
podcast.
Timeline. I love it so much. Ken Jeong, Joe McHale, amazing. Love those guys. But
Incredible
top
games.
5.
But yes, the top 5. I wanted to talk because we talked so much about Pokemon. I'd really like to open this up to the chat as well, throw in some of your favorite Pokemon. But I would like to go over our 5 favorite Pokemon and why. Dan, why don't you start us with number 5?
All right, so for me, it's a twofer. My number 5 Pokemon is the Destroyer of Worlds. His dark legacy extends out past the cosmos. The Magikarp. I absolutely love Magikarp.
I didn't see that.
For the main reason that he's so useless. He's so helpless. Right. But he evolves into Gyarados, who is one of the strongest freaking Pokemon, and yet somehow still not a freaking dragon. But
that's one thing in Pokemon I've never really understood. The connection between Magikarp and Gyarados.
So it's based on an old, I believe, Chinese legend where Carp would swim up to the top of a waterfall and it would become a dragon.
Wow.
And that's where you get Gyarados, because Gyarados' one of his first moves is Waterfall.
Right, Gyarados has the Waterfall.
Yeah. So I love Gyarados. Every time I get Pokemon, I have to find myself a Magikarp, raise it from the ground up, and just destroy people with my Magikarp named Apocalypse that evolves into Gyarados.
For me, my number 5 is also a twofer because you can't have one without the other. Umbreon and Espeon. I love them so much. I love the connection between them. I love the dog-cat thing. I love all the fan art that people have done showing them as the best of friends.
Oh, I knew you were a furry.
I love the night and day thing. I love that, Umbreon is the dog of the night and Espeon is this awesome psychic
type. Yeah.
I think they're really cool Pokemon. I've loved them. I've always been drawn to them. Dan, give us your number 4.
All right, so my number 4 is, hold on, let me think about this one for a second. So my number 4, I'm going to have to go with one of the more recent starters.
Okay.
And that is going to be Decidueye, the grass dark type from... No, not Charmander, not yet. He's on my list. Decidueye, he from, I believe it was, not Sword and Shield, the one before that. Can't remember the name. Sun and Moon. From Sun and Moon. Grass type, dark type. Awesome. Really cool Pokemon. I've never really chosen the grass type up until that one, and it was a very good choice. So I give them, that's my number 4.
For me, number 4 is Dragonite. I love that he's goofy. I love that he's, such like a good friend. You always see him outside. You always see him outside of the Pokeball a lot of the times in the TV show. I love that. I also love that it's incredibly difficult to get him fully in the end because you have to go through the involves of Dratini and all the other ones that come before him.
Yeah.
But I just think once you do get to that level, he is a freaking badass and he's so strong and he's still lovable and goofy. I love him. Number 3 for you, Dan.
All right, my number 3 is Charizard. Come on, you knew it was coming.
Come on.
He's definitely on my list. He's been one of my favorites ever since I got Pokemon. I started with Blue, so I had a Blastoise, but I quickly reset and got a Charmander with a Charizard. So, yeah.
One of the quirky personality traits I love about Charizard is that you have to earn his respect and earn the ability. You saw so many times Ash struggle. Charizard, use Flamethrower. Yeah, go fuck off, Ash. Is what Charizard
is. Yes, Bill, that card is just evil. Evil.
Yes.
Holy Grail of classmate collections. Yes.
Number 3 for me has to be.
It's a tough one.
Jolteon. Yeah, This is another thing. I've always liked Eevee. I think it's really cool that they did a lot of things with Eevee, but for me, Jolteon is the coolest one. Not to mention how he looks. I love all of his abilities. I love just that, like, how he gets low and growls at you like this. I love it. Number 2 for you.
All right, my number 2. You see, that's going to be another tough one. I have to go with the fan favorite Mewtwo. You know, he's a badass. He's the Vegeta of fucking Pokemon, you know?
The movie itself was incredible.
Yep.
And the Mewtwo is really cool. I'm not a big fan of his shiny version, though. The green tail, it's kind of strange.
It doesn't exist in my book. I go with the Mewtwo from Detective Pikachu and the original series. That was a complete bamf.
My number 2 shouldn't be too big of a surprise to you, but Machamp. I love Machamp.
Yep, not a surprise at all.
The fact that he's carrying a championship belt all the time, and he's honestly Hulk Hogan in Pokemon.
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's so jacked, he's swole, he's ready to go.
Yep.
Get your final Pokemon, Jan.
All right, now this one's a bit of a surprise. You're probably not going to see this one coming, but Gengar is my number 1 all-time favorite Pokemon.
I love Gengar. Tell us why about Gengar.
So the fact that the original Pokemon was supposed to be, the legendaries were supposed to be Clefairy and Gengar.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look, Gengar is the exact shape of Clefable.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be the dichotomy, light and dark. So I thought that was a very cool concept, and Gengar is super strong. The fact that you could only get him by trading him originally, and he has some of the best move sets. His power base is perfect and balanced. You know, if you're playing for stats, his moves are great. Shadow Ball is disgusting.
You will fuck up a lot of people with Gengar on your team.
Yep, he's one of the few Pokemon that can just wreck Mewtwo.
Last, and certainly not least, it should not be a surprise to you either, but Arcanine. I love Arcanine. Because of his you just look at him, he's just glorious. He's the ultimate dog, really. He's this awesome, like, king of dogs is the way that I see him. Not to mention
like Doc Brutus.
And I got one from the egg, and I raised it all the way up to level 100. You can't touch him. He took a full shot from Blastoise, and he's like, "Oh, did someone leave the shower on in here?" Well, Dan, so I think that wraps us up this evening. But I heard you have a few shout-outs to give tonight as we're coming to a close.
Hold on one second. I'll pull that up. So our shout-outs for this evening, special thanks to Rules of Engagement Games for all of the awesomeness you guys do for us. Special shout-out to Campus Cards and Games Orlando and the Hobby Chest. Our VIP fan this week is Sono Kid. What up, Sono? And our new gamers that decided to join us, Lazy Bandit, Winrider, K-Sellers123, Brandon Gara, and Mr. Squarepeg. Thank you guys for tuning in. Awesomeness. Violet Abstract, we'll have you next week. So
we love you.
Stay tuned. We love all you guys.
All of the support. Hey, Dan, I was thinking, since we got our new VIP tonight, he probably hasn't seen, because Mr. Sono Kid is on stream
live right now.
He just joined. Would you like to give him a raid? And you guys should stick around, check him out. He's a great streamer, a huge friend of the channel, obviously our VIP fan. The way that y'all earn the VIP fan is you come by the show often. We pay attention. We look at the analytics. We look who's listening. We look who's watching. And we hope to see you guys on Apple Podcasts as well.
Yeah, definitely check us out on Apple Podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube and our Facebook. We've got a lot of good content coming out for you. AJ's been doing awesome work with this. What's that new show you were talking about the other day? Your docu-series.
Right. So I wanted to and I guess we'll introduce to our viewers that we have with us. I wanted to do behind the gamer tags, and this is a very this kind of series will be very real. You won't see a lot of the same stuff that you see here. That you're going to listen to on the podcast. You're going to see a lot more hard hitting, a lot more emotional, a lot more investigative questions that are coming from here on out. Or not from here on out. We're still going to give you the news every week, but this is another show that we're going to be adding now that we have the podcast, and I'm very excited for that. And I would like Dan. We would like to be the first person that I interview in Behind the Gamer Tags.
Yeah, so you guys, if you tune into the Behind the Gamer Tags, you're not going to be seeing DocShippy, which is my character you guys see here, or Gamer Actual, who's my Facebook account. You guys will actually be hearing the real story of ETG and how I started it and all that stuff. The true Dan from the beginning. So definitely stay tuned for that. But I think that's it for me. AJ, you got any last shout outs?
As always, thank you so much for the support, everyone. I don't know if you can see, I got my buddy. He's napped out from the airplane.
Yeah, Doc Brutus is upstairs, passed out. So stay tuned. We're gonna go raid Sono, our VIP for the night. Give him some love. Tell him that DocShippy and AJ East Coast sent you. From all of us here at ETG Actual. Thanks for watching, and never game alone.
Have a great night, y'all.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. To the raid!
So no raid.
Yeah, let's see if it goes. Oh, is it not letting us? Weird. Let's try that again. Let's try raiding. Oh. I don't think it's letting us raid them. Alright, well, we'll try again later. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.